You know what that means? 420 Blaze It! The wildly popular recurring segment here in Zeta where we cover all sorts of topics relating to Blazeball.
I'd like to start,
please do,
if we can, with just a brief explanation of what Blazeball is.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Yep.
Blazeball, which is a website, blazeball.com, is a simulated baseball league. Several teams in several different leagues, and during the course of a week, from Monday to Friday, they play games, and the audience bets on those games in order to get fake currency. And then there's a playoff and a championship on the weekend. And on Sunday, based on audience votes, certain changes to the games are made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And each team is like composed of what, a dozen players?
There's different numbers of players on each team,
Oh, okay, right.
but they have like a lineup of batters and a lineup of pitchers that you can see, and you can also see who is pitching for each game coming up.
So
Oh, go ahead, Molly.
I'm just wondering, this being a recurring segment, the mechanism of how Blazeball works is a great place to start. And I think people may be confused as to how one experiences the games if it is just a bunch of numbers on a website. And in my experience, it is like, as the games are going, you're texting your friends like, I can't believe they struck out Alden Cash Money or whatever have you, like the Discord as well.
A lot of it's in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or again, like doing watch parties with your friends is very fun, especially for the playoffs, because there's a lot of big surprises that happen sometimes.
So it doesn't just chunk out a bunch of numbers like and be done. It's like we've played the entire game. It's like no, you get to see the first inning, the results.
All of the games happen at the same time. You see like a list of all the games as they're ongoing.
But a whole game might take like about an hour to kind of get through all
like
of the
half hour to an hour. It depends on the lead. It's like the away team can win if they're ahead by one, but they always have a chance to make up the runs to tie it, and if it's a tie, the game doesn't end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there's a condition of shame if a game goes for too long. How does that work?
That if the away team is ahead in runs when the game ends, basically. Like the other team has no chance to make it up. Like they just lost.
And so what significant changes have been brought about by audience voting? Like obviously the book was opened, and Pete Townsend, not Pete Townsend,
Jalen Hot Dog Fingers.
Jalen Hot Dog Fingers was incinerated, and then Townsend was sacrificed to bring, or sent to the Shadow Dimension.
Yeah.
To bring back, but that was, that's not voting though. That was part of the idol structure as well, which we can get into later. But, should we maybe for people that are new to Blazeball break down also the various currencies involved, because there's money you bet. Betting is a big part that I don't think we've touched on. Which doesn't really matter because everybody got like $10,000 or something at the end of a season. This is just my patchy understanding.
Okay, so one of the decrees that passed was Eat the Rich, which at the end of each week, the wealth from the top 1% is distributed out to the audience that is the lower 99%. It's just split amongst everyone. And like the audience voted for that, and it passed and changed the game.
So what other sort of if in sort of the timeline of what has been affected by the democracy that is baseball, Blazeball, if you can call it that, like, I don't know what sort of system of voting is probably closest to democracy than anything else, the Republic of Blazeball. But what has the audience been able to institute into the sort of timeline of this league? How have they affected the lore as it's played out?
Like necromancy is a big one, which again, you have to kind of explain with the Hall of Fame. Yeah, voted for black holes. There was votes for different weather patterns. Like I think reverb was voted for, or they voted to allow players to be interviewed by a microphone.
Yes. Okay.
And that caused the reverb. So we don't always know what actually getting the decrees will actually cause. Like opening the book. No one knew that would just cause umpires to start incinerating players.
I mean, there's only one way to find out, presumably, what would happen. And that was to open the book.
Okay, the microphone caused feedback. Sorry, not reverb.
It feels like a very old DM trick, right? Where you've got 3 things planned out, but you offer your players a menu of like 40 things and tell them to pick 3. And then you convolute how those things line up with what you've actually got planned.
I'm going to draw for a winner right now, but we can keep talking.
Okay.
Do it.
I don't know if I can keep talking during that. The Price is Right wheel is just like drilled into my brain.
Plum Pushu has won the
Pushu!
Bob Ross
Woo!
kit, and I will start setting us up for the other giveaway. Congratulations, Plum Pushu.
Yeah, so some of the things that you get are you only get a few. You get like the top ones, and the other ones are now they're more even because teams can only get one, but all of the decrees would be passed, or all of the boons and blessings, would be distributed, and you would get to see like the Crabs team won this. They didn't vote the most because like the Moist Talkers voted the most to try to get this thing, which is like makes their players fireproof so they don't get incinerated. And it's like, I put all of my votes in this. Votes cost 100 coins.
And that's the main reason that you bet, is to earn enough money to cast votes.
Yeah.
And buy peanuts, I guess. But everyone has peanuts now.
Yeah, you can buy a flute that lets you change what your favorite team is. You can spend money on switching who you're idolizing.
When you say money, you mean like in-game?
It's fake money.
Fake money. Do they have a special term, or is it just coins?
It's coins. It's coins, and in the store, you can beg to the baseball gods to get more money. So if you run out of money, you can get more money, and that has caused problems, but those problems are fixed. What do peanuts do? We don't know.
You just eat them. Like literally on the interface, there's, the number of coins you have and the number of peanuts you have, and it'll say you have 11,000 peanuts, and you just click on that to eat a peanut.
Yeah,
and a little
and you can
speech bubble
buy
comes up.
one
It's like,
squirrel, and the squirrel can increase your peanut eating rate to 2 peanuts.
yeah, a hungry squirrel who helps you eat peanuts.
Yeah,
and then just
you
a little
can
alert
offer
comes up
tribute
that says,
to players.
Okay, yeah. No, like the alert comes up that says "crack them open" when you click.
Yeah,
You don't have an
or
individual peanut.
yummy. The peanut weather is a different thing. So during a game, if there's peanut weather, players may eat peanuts accidentally, and they'll have a reaction that's either like an allergic reaction or they'll enjoy it, and that changes their stats permanently. So you can get like a 5-star batter, and they'll eat a peanut, and then they'll be like a 4-star batter or a 1-star batter. It's not fun.
Oh no!
I'm going to cut in again. We're going to start the Ikoria Lair of Behemoths complete foil set giveaway.
Ooh.
And here's what I've settled on. It's starting at 4:30 and running until 5:40, because it'll give us time to finish that up. It's the complete set in foil. They're all there. 4:30 till 5:40, and I went online to see what if I wanted to buy a lot of Ikoria and it was really expensive, and I saw one that was like, oh, that's $1,170. I'm like, that's pretty expensive. How about instead of $1,170, how about $11.70?
Ooh, sounds reasonable.
Nice.
So starting immediately for $11.70, you get a chance to win the Ikoria Lair of Behemoths complete foil set. That's nuts. $11.70 or multiples thereof. You got a shot at doing this. Go to desertbus.org/donate to donate money. You'll have to get yourself a donor account, so sign up and follow the directions, and please make sure you got your full name and your full address. It wasn't for a foil set of Ikoria, $1,170. It was for something else Ikoria related. But please, continue.
Okay. Yeah, peanuts is another thing that the audience voted for. They were like, yeah, of course I want to get peanuts. It's a baseball thing. And then it was like, there's a nasty peanut god and players get allergic reactions. It was like totally unpleasant.
Is everything that the audience can vote on some kind of curled monkey's paw?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not been a, like, everybody on the team gets a second birthday and they get 2 sets of presents every, like, nothing nice.
The blessings that you want to get are like that. Some of them are like you swap the worst pitcher on your team for the best batter on another team in another league. Or they get a fancy item. My favorite one is there was a player called McLaughlin Scorpler who is determined to have like a Baby Driver style really cool backpack or jacket. Sorry, not Baby Driver, the driver, the Gyllenhaal thing, and the jacket made a player who got it fireproof, so they couldn't be incinerated.
Ooh.
And while that boon was up in the store or up in the election available, Scorpler got incinerated.
No.
Rest in
jacket
violence.
Didn't work for him. And yeah, so rest in violence. The first player like incinerated by an umpire was named Landry Violence. So it was like they wouldn't want to rest in peace. Baseball is violent.
Was this before or after the book got opened?
It was right after the book got opened. They were the first player affected by that. Because Hot Dog Fingers wasn't incinerated by an umpire during a game.
Oh, okay. Was just incinerated by the cracking open of the book?
Yeah.
Okay. But then that was on the table. Incineration was on the table from there on out. Then what happened? Are players still getting incinerated?
Yeah. Right. Sorry. Violence was not the first player incinerated. They were just a fan favorite. I know that on the Moist Talkers team for Ruby Tuesday, which we talked about previously, Kiki Familia is the shortest living player because they lived 5 1/3 innings.
No.
Oh, wow. A mere blaby.
Yeah, a blaby. It's like that. We were sitting in the chat being like, maybe she's like a magical catfish girl, and then she was dead.
Well,
A third of an inning is 2 outs, right? Because it would be 6 outs for a full inning. So, okay. Did she die on the second out? Is that how she died?
I think she was batting, and
Okay, cool.
Like, I think it's probably worth mentioning that the reason that, like I've said in previous Blase Its, that, you know, people will pack bond with anything, right? Here we're pack bonding with a spreadsheet. And I woke up to my phone this afternoon with a message from a friend being like, oh, that's kind of eliding a lot of what makes the game interesting. Because the stat blocks for players aren't just stats, right? Like, you know, their batting average or whatever. They're quite idiosyncratic. And they let you imagine the personality of the player quite a lot, which lets people get quite attached to it. And the names are very unusual too, right? Like the Hades Tigers had a team captain whose last name was Cookbook. And people immediately decided that this was in fact a sentient eldritch cookbook who was like a very nurturing parental figure to the entire team.
Yeah, the Moist Talkers have had a player called Eugenia Garbage.
Mhm.
People were like, yeah, that's just a big pile of trash that bats real good. Of course, the chant was Garbage Day!
So, like, the devs definitely have let, these aren't blank people playing in this game, right? They lend themselves quite well to having a lot of personality.
And do you feel that the commissioner, say, and the peanut gods are actively sort of steering the narrative? Because when I've tried to describe Blaseball to people, I'll say it's collaborative storytelling. It's this sort of gestalt of, internet nerds, sort of storying up a bunch of spreadsheets. But does it seem to you that the gods of Blaseball are trying to curve the narrative to their own ends?
Well,
you
specifically,
feel-
the Peanut was.
Yes.
It was
Okay.
like the Peanut was trying to definitely punish the audience for behavior.
Hmm.
There were a few things that the Peanut did, like change some of the rules in the book, show up on screen and yell at people, put players in giant peanut shells, and then
Sure. Yeah, I remember that.
which
yeah.
prevented them from taking actions, basically.
Mhm.
And then form a team of those players to obliterate whoever was supposed to be the champion.
Yeah,
And probably stop a team from ascending, which is, in the rules, in the book, it's like if a team wins 3 championships, they ascend. And again, this is like the meta stuff. But on Twitter, people were like, hey, at Blaseball, what does this mean? And the commissioner, Parker, was probably like, it means to go up, or 3,000 feet. It's like, hey, did you just Google what the word ascend means? It's like the top result.
So yeah, if I'm understanding this correctly, it sounds like Blaseball is essentially a spreadsheet that has some weighted numbers that get moved around based on stats and random number generators probably or something.
Well, I wanted to explain the layout of the games as they're being played. You can see if players are on base, you can see who's pitching, you can see who's batting. Every action is like slightly narrated. There's a little text box that's like someone hit a bunt to third base and the shortstop picked it up or something like that.
Okay,
Or
okay.
this was a double play, or
Kind of like how Dwarf Fortress narrates all the stuff that's going on all the time.
Dwarf Fortress does not narrate the stuff that's going on.
I thought it did. Did you like so and so took this, so this happened to so and so? Oh,
You can
Fine.
find action logs,
okay.
but that's like a submenu.
Right. So this is more like a little bit of a graphical thing in terms of like there's like I guess more information there than
It's
just
kind of like
numbers?
each game has a little Twitter feed that just
Yeah.
says who's on base and did they
Exactly.
hit something.
Yeah.
And it's 16 of these games going on at once.
Is it hard to keep track of everything that's happening if you're watching 16 games at once?
A little
Not
bit.
really.
Like you can't
It's-
always read all of the text because some effects, like some of the weather effects, are described in those text boxes. It'll be like, in the case of the players that got put in peanut shells, if there was bird weather, it turned out there was a chance that the birds would come and eat the peanut
the
shell
peanut.
and release it,
Yeah,
release the player.
free the player who had been shelled.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So you would
And
see
this is-
that, like, birds swarm the field, or when Jalen Hot Dog Fingers was beaning people and causing the incinerations, it would be like, so and so was incinerated, a debt was collected, and then we were like, what does that mean?
I loved the emotional arc of people like, yay, Jalen Hot Dog Fingers is back. And then she
Right?
started beating people and they were like, ooh, that's bad. I wonder what
And
unstable
then it was
means.
contagious. It was like a player who had been made unstable by a bean could pass it on to another player in another game.
And it was
Ugh.
just
Player-
like, oh, like I just remember seeing like a bunch of tweets pop up on my feed that were like, oh no.
Yeah.
Which is scary enough in 2020, and then it's a baseball. So wait, so Beans? When did Beans enter into the picture?
Oh, that's
When
just a
Jalen
picture.
Hot Dog Fingers was brought back from the dead.
Then Beans came with them.
Well, I mean, a bean is
With her.
just when you hit a player with a pitch.
Oh, I
In
see.
the bean.
I thought that
Oh,
beans
yeah.
were being
okay.
thrown around. Okay.
No.
No, no, no.
Sorry. No,
Holy
beanball.
crap.
Yeah.
The
Hard to
pitcher was
know.
hitting other players. Well, it's hitting the batter.
So yeah,
But-
like I think that game tore the like the emotional heart out of the Hades Tigers.
Yeah.
Because
Well, and-
when Jalen was brought back, Jalen was pitching for the Tigers. Even though when they were incinerated, they were on the
Garages.
garages.
Well, and Heather, to your question about keeping track of all the games, that's why they have you pick I mean, not entirely why, but you do pick a team that is your favorite. That's the first thing you
Oh,
do when you
okay.
sign up. And so that is sorted to the top. And I usually just, like, I invested in a thing, so I just get passive income whenever my team wins.
Yeah.
That's the thing you can purchase with coins as well as votes. And, you know, you can bet on the other games if you choose, but if not, then you don't really have to watch them. And then your home team sticks to the top.
It definitely sounds like the kind of thing that is perfect for somebody who treats like who comes into a sport in a casual way, that they're like, I'm gonna pick my local team and I'm gonna cheer for them.
Sure.
And then slowly over time, as you start to get to know the players, and then
It
like
just-
trades, and then you start to get to know who your rivals are, and you get to know the players on their teams, and
It's just like when I watch, well, no, I don't actually watch any sports, but when I hear of sports in the real world happening, it's like, sure, there's some games that might be like going on around each other, but the idea of having like 16 happening at the same time
yeah.
seems like a lot.
And you would never
I-
be expected to
I-
know all 16
Yeah,
unless you were really
I
into it.
suppose nobody
Yeah.
really keeps track of every single game.
Yeah, you
Well,
kind of you watch your favorites or the high drama matches.
But there are
Exactly.
people who are hardcore fans.
Or you
Yeah.
like you see memes or stuff later, and you're like, why this? So, I wanted to say, like, 'cause maybe you have an idea that the players are a bit normal. There's a pitcher called Polka Dot Patterson who has 87 fingers. That's just one of the stats that they have.